Okay, please confirm if my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Visible, sir.
okay. Actually, in the last session, we had a small confusion with this typical program where we are getting the compile time error. Okay, so like so there is no rocket science here. Even I was a bit confused. If I run this code, definitely there will be a compile time error. I will tell you why there will be a compile time error. Java says it says constructor A in the class A must cannot be applied to the given types. It says something like no arguments found. Actual and formal arguments list different length. Okay. Let us try to trace this out for the better understanding. So this is our actual code. If I just give this piece of code to the compiler, so we know the things that will be done by the compiler, right? So the class will be considered as a default class. So a class is going to get extended from the object class. Okay. Extends object, and the developer has already placed a no argument constructor inside the class A, but he has missed placing the super keyword. This compiler will ensure that super keyword is also placed in the A constructor, an argument constructor. Okay, and look at the next class. There is a class B. Default keyword will be added, right? And after the default keyword, so the developer has not defined any constructor for the class B. So the default constructor will be placed by the compiler. Along with the default constructor, the compiler will also place what? The super keyword, right? If you want to differentiate the things that has been done by the compiler, I can simply say that so these things are done by the compiler. The super keyword extends to object, and the default constructor, okay, the default keyword, okay, the things that are in red are just done by the compiler. These are the compilation things, right? And at the same time, the compiler will also check, okay, it will check how many classes are there. Okay, there are two classes, isn't it? So you have something like class A, you have class B. First, it will check, is there any relationship between two classes? Yes, there is a relationship between two classes. Why there is a relationship between two classes? Class B is extending from A, right? Class B is extending from A. So B becomes the child class, right? So B class is going to become the child class, and A class is going to become the parent class. I can say that this is child class and this is the parent class. When there is a relationship, it will also ensure, right? The compiler will check the default constructor will be checked by the compiler. See, there is a default constructor B, isn't it? B is a default constructor, right? So this default constructor, because of the compiler, because of the changes that is done by the compiler, right? The default constructor, okay, the compiler will expect that there is a super call to the class A, right? There is a what we call it as there is a super call. There is a super call with no argument constructor to the class A. It will check, even though these things are done by the compiler will also check that if the developer has placed any constructor that is not accepting any argument. Super means what? Just replace the super keyword with A class, right? It will check whether the A constructor which is accepting no arguments is already there inside the class A or not. So unfortunately, there is no such constructor. Unfortunately, there is no such constructor. There is a constructor that is accepting an argument, but there is no constructor which is not accepting any arguments. Right? So this thing is expected in the compiler level. That thing is not there in the class A. This checking will be done when there is a relationship. If there is no relationship, okay, it will not make any sense to do this kind of checkings. Since there is a relationship, since this default constructor is being placed by the compiler, the compiler will ensure that the developer has placed the equivalent no argument constructor or not in the superclass. There is no such no argument constructor. That's why the error is like what? Error is like the actual and formal argument list differs in length. Okay, so if I just remove this, if I just break the relationship, there will be no such error, because class B is going to extend to object class, class A is going to extend to object class. Even though if the default constructor is placed, there will not be any issues, and the object class B is going to handle the default constructor, isn't it? Java C space B dot Java. Okay, guys, again we are getting this. Wait, it's slow. Wait, we'll wait for a few seconds. Huh? If you want. That's right. Okay. Java space. Okay, now we are not getting such errors. So we'll get something like output, because there is no relationship between these two classes. They are independent classes, right? And even though the compiler is placing the default constructor along with the super keyword, okay, now this super constructor call is meant to be called for the object class constructor. Super call is nothing but the object class constructor call. So in the object class constructor call, there is already a no argument constructor, so that's why you're not getting any error. The moment you make a direct relationship between two classes, okay, and if you're not placing any constructor, no argument constructor, then you will get error. So by this I can conclude that it is always better to place a no argument constructor, even though you are getting benefits from it or not. It is always better to place a no argument constructor, right? So when you want to place a no argument constructor, if you are defining your own constructor that is accepting some argument, you should also ensure that you are keeping a no argument constructor, so that you will avoid this kind of compilation issues when you are developing the real-time applications. Making sense? Can I get yes from everyone or no? Any doubts you have till now? Hello? Hello?
No, sir.
Yeah, clear now? So this is one of the things that you need to consider. I can say that problematic there is says please be informed that please be informed that there will be compilation error when you run the above code, since there is a relationship, there is a parent-child relationship. Parent-child relationship in the two classes. Okay, and the developer has placed a constructor that is accepting an argument. However, compiler expects a default constructor as the super class constructor call is present in the subclass constructor. Okay. We overcome this. is always a good programming practice. To place a no or constructor. No or constructor in every class explicitly. Right? So this is making more sense. Huh? Now we will conclude about the copy constructor. Okay. Now we will understand better about the copy constructor today. So in the last class we have understood something about copy constructor. Today we are going to understand its complete purpose. Right. So to understand this better, I want to take a class called the person class. Okay. Now just try to pay attention. So let us say that, for example, if you want to deal with a person, right? If you are looking at a person, so always, if you want to talk about the identity of a person, right? A person can be defined just by his behavior, but he can be identified by the properties. When I say properties, you can take the name property. Name is one of the property, right? Second one is you can also take the age property, right? And you can take so many properties, but whenever you are meeting a person, you always ask for his identity, which is what? Name. Name is a mandatory thing. The age is not mandatory, okay, but it is also a kind of identification, age, right? And also you can perfectly identify a person, the location as well, right? The combination of these three things may help us to identify the exact person, because there are high chances that the name of the person can be same name can be assigned to many persons. So in that case, you go with the name age combination, and again there are high chances that both there are some high chances that the person may possess the same age as well. In that case, you go for the location. If not, you will directly go for the other card. So that are secondary, but identification wise, you take the properties. So with the help of these properties, you are able to identify a person perfectly. Yes or no? Three properties. For time being, I am taking that a person can be identified only by the three properties: name property, age property, and location property. Right? Let us say that this person is joining in a company. The name of the company is what? The ABC company. ABC company. AB is the company name. So in this company, this person has given an interview and he has shortlisted, he has selected, and is about to join this company, right? So at the time of joining, okay, the company expects, let us assume that the company is expecting only these three information. Only these three information. So we are discussing about the copy constructor, right? Let me see. Copy constructor. Copy constructor. Okay. First of all, first point to remember, right? To understand copy construction, first of all, we'll understand the ordinary construction. First thing you have to do is define a class. Define a class with the meaningful name. Meaningful. Okay. I want to define the name of the class as the, let us say that the name of the class is the person class. Person class. Or employee class, whatever it is, but I am taking the person. Okay, let me remove this as well. So I have perfectly defined a class. Name of the class is person. Second thing is, so you are trying to give the identity for the person, isn't it? So how many properties this person has? So to be honest, I mean, typically we are expecting these three properties: name property, age property, and the location property. So these three properties are also called as what? They are also called as the instance variables. When you want to what we call this, when you want to define the properties in a particular class, you call the properties as what? Instance variables, right? Let me take the instance variables name same as this properties name. So I can say that the second point is define the name of the class. Second point, define the instance variables. Define the instance variables. Please be informed that within the class, within the same class, you will have to find the instance variables that is actually representing the data that you want to store. Okay. Class has been defined, so I want to define the instance variables, right? So what are the instance variables I want to take? If you see, you have name variable, age variable, and location variable. So let me take the name variable first. Let us take that age variable second. Third one is a location variable, right? So by looking at this, I can come to a conclusion that the name is what can store. We can represent a name in the form of string. Done. Age can be represented in the form of number, so integer, int. Location again can be represented in the form of string. Done. So three variables are defined, right? The third thing is define a constructor. Third thing is what? Next one is define a constructor. Why I want to define a constructor? Define a constructor. Okay. The reason why I want to define a constructor is I have been telling you constructor needs to be defined whenever you want to do what? Whenever you want to set the values to the instance variables, right? So name, let us say that name is something like Balaji. Let us say that the age is something like 19. The location is something like Hyderabad. Right? So if you want to set values to the instance variables, constructors are required. Right? So define a constructor. So constructor is used to define or assign values to the instance variables after the object at the time of object creation. At the time of object creation. The time of object creation. Perfect. So constructor, right? Again, what is a constructor? Constructor name should be same as the class name. So name of the class is person, right? So this is the normal constructor. I can say that a no argument constructor I can say. But I want to build a constructor in such a way that my constructor is going to help me to assign the values to the instance variables, right? Just very simple, copy this according to the orderly fashion from top to bottom and paste it here. Okay, copy this, okay, and paste it here. Copy this and paste it here, right? The moment you call the person constructor, you will pass the three values like Balaji, 19, and Hyderabad. Right? These values will be, you will be transmitting data after creating an object. That data will be collected by this constructor, right? So name variable is going to collect the name data. Age variable is going to collect the age data. Location variable is going to collect the location data. You need to transfer. These are the local variables because they are limited. They are placed as an argument of the person constructor. These are called as local variables. But if you observe one thing, the local variable name as well as the class variable names are bound to be same. So there should be a kind of differentiation, right? There should be a kind of differentiation that these values needs to get transmitted to the class level variable, right? These values need to get assigned. Assigned means use the assignment operator, use the assignment operator, use the assignment operator. This has to be transferred to the class level variables. But the class level variable is same as the local variable. How I can differentiate that? I can take name, I can take age, I can take location. But if I do this again, the same value is getting assigned to the same variable. There will be no change. I want to make a change. I want to assign these values to the class level variables. So in order to do that, I will be using what? This keyword. This dot name, this dot age, okay, and your this dot location. So this is going to help us to assign the values that you receive in the constructor to the class level variables or instance variables. So constructor has been defined. Right? Constructor has been defined. Okay, after defining the constructor, what we are supposed to do? Initialize the instance variables. What we have to do? Initialize the instance variables. How can we initialize instance variables? By creating an object. Right? Creating a right. So please create an object for the respective class or the particular class, and call the constructor accordingly. What does it really mean? The same thing, right? So what I want to do, let me go to the, okay. So what is the object creation? What is the procedure to create an object? Person or person P1 equal to new person. Okay. So I will be calling the person constructor, but my person constructor is accepting 3 arguments. First argument is what? Any name, Balaji, the employee, first employee name. Second object is what? The age, let me say 19. Third one is what? Hyderabad. Okay, so far it is good. So far it is good. So we are able to assign the values to the instance variables, right? And if I try to print this system dot out dot println, if I try to print the reference variable of the person class, now please tell me what would be the output in the console. Anyone? Come on, tell me what would be the output if I try to print the
name is location.
No. So I've been telling you many times, the moment you try to call the reference variable, you get what? You get the reference value, the hash code. I remember or not? You get the hash code will be printed. So I said, many times, toString method will be called, right? You remember? The compiler is going to call the toString method. If compiler is going to place the toString method, this toString method is part of the object class. So you need to ensure that you are making sure that the control is calling your own toString method. So you need to override the toString method. Public string toString, right? So you need to place your own toString method, and you should return what? Return the reference variables, which is what? Name, get concatenated with the age, okay? Getting concatenated with what? The location. So this will ensure that toString method will be called, but this time your toString method will be called. Your logic will be invoked. What is your logic? You just want to print the values which was assigned. Okay, see Balaji 19 Hyderabad guys is going to get transferred to the local variables Balaji 19 and Hyderabad. This is again going to transfer to the class level variables because of this keyword. You are just printing that. You are just printing that here. You are just returning that here with the help of toString method. This you are defining this method so that this time your toString method will be called. Now if you print this, now definitely you will get the values as we are expecting. Forgot, huh? Are you getting this? Everyone? Hello? Hello?
Sir.
You remember this? We have been discussing. I have taken a 1 hour session for this toString method. If you look at my previous sessions. Okay. Now the part is copy constructor. So what exactly? Now see guys, the moment you join in a company, so this is how the object will be stored. They are going to store your information by using the constructor. The real-time application also they are going to use the constructor to store the information. Okay. These details will be stored. In our case, the details has been stored by the name of P1 reference variable, right? So we have used what reference variable? Reference variable is P1. So person 1 information. And also what is the takeaway is they want to take a copy. What they want to do? They want to take a copy of this object. They want to take a copy of this object. And why they want to take a copy? If you see, age is 19 today, right? At the time of joining, age is 19. After 1 year, this age has to get increased by 1, right? 20. After 2 years, age has to get increased by 2, right? 21. So this age is something that is not a fixed entity, right? It has to keep changing from time to time, isn't it? It's not a fixed entity. And again, the location, you cannot promise that the location is also going to be fixed. I mean, this year he may be working in Hyderabad. Next year he may be working in somewhere like, he may be working in Chennai. Okay, after 5 years, he may be working somewhere in Atlanta in USA. Okay? Like this, these informations are not guaranteed to be same. It keeps changing, right? So what they do at the time of joining the ABC company, they take a copy. They take a copy of the object. So for the future reference, so this is the original object, isn't it? So this is the original object. So this is the copied object. At the time of joining, they take the original from the original object, they make out a copy, right? So they store this copy somewhere in a database. This copy will be stored somewhere in the database for the future reference. So when they want to track the list of employees, okay, who are joined in so and so year, right? So the data remains to be what? Remains to be consistent. Consistent means at the time of joining, this is how the data of the person is. The time of joining, that data remains has to be consistent. Okay, and this P1 object today it could be what? This tomorrow it could be some other thing. Day after tomorrow it could be some other thing, right? Data cannot be consistent. So it keeps changing. To achieve such requirements, one has to go for what? One has to go for copy constructor. This is one of the idea. There are so many things. There are so many advantages. So this is one of the advantages. You have advantages like shallow copy, deep copy. You will understand them. Shallow copying. Okay, there is a concept called deep copying. Okay, there is a lot, and in future we have a concept called cloning, object cloning. It's just like the concept of copy constructor, but you see a lot of variations between these two concepts. So while learning cloning, you will understand this better. For now, it is just like if you want to create exact copy, you want to make the exact copy out of an existing object, this is how we are going to do it. Right? Go back to the theory. My theory is fifth point. Create a copy constructor. Create a copy constructor. Question is, how can you create a copy constructor? Okay. Very simple. Okay. Please build a constructor that is accepting the existing object reference variable, or is create an object that is accepting the existing object reference variable. So what does it mean? What does it actually mean? Now I have a constructor. If I want to go for the copy constructor, now focus copy constructor. Right? What the copy constructor says: create an object. Create an object, but you don't pass parameters. Create an object with the new reference variable P2. I'm taking the variable name as P2 because I cannot take P1 because P1 is already there. I'm taking P2. I'm generating a sequence, P2 sequence. From P1 to P1 I'm generating. I have to pass the existing reference variable, which is P1, as an argument to the new object. This is simply the definition of what? Copy constructor. Okay, what is the copy constructor? An object is created by passing the reference variable of the existing object. Just tell me, are we good till now? Yes, no? Can I get yes in the chat box, or can you say, are we good till now? Hello? Yes, no? Are you with me or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, focus here. Now see guys, so you are passing a reference variable, right? Don't you think that it is your job to place such a constructor which is accepting the reference variable of an object as an argument? So previously, this particular object is accepting 3 values. So you did what? You placed a constructor, okay, which is accepting the 3 values. You are passing the 3 values. The 3 values are transferred to such a constructor that is accepting the 3 values. Likewise, don't you think that it is also your duty to place a constructor in such a way that it is accepting the object reference as the argument? So what I can do, let me define a constructor, public, not public, I mean person. Okay, person. Simply I define the constructor. This is no argument constructor. Okay, but the moment I'm creating an object. Okay, object is created. My person object is accepting p1 as an argument. P1 is of what type? Person type, right? So I will be placing the person as an argument. Person as an argument. Right? And also you have to place a reference variable like ref. Any meaningful name I can give. This is not a mandatory thing, but you want to give a specific name. You can give any name here. It can be A, B, C. In my case, I'm taking reference. Why this constructor is placed? I'm passing P1, guys. I'm passing P1. P1 is of what type? P1 is of person type. So here I'm passing Balaji. Balaji is of what type? Balaji is string type, isn't it? That's why I have placed string here. 19 is of what type? Integer type. That's why I placed integer here. And Hyderabad is of what type? String type. I have placed a string here. And again, if I ask you a question, P1 is of what type here, guys? P1 is of what type? Person type. That's why I placed a person here. Reference. Right? So behind the scenes, nothing is behind the scenes. What is exactly happening is, a previously an object is created. The P1 object. This is the P1 object. Right? P1 object has three values. One is the name value. Second one is the age value. Okay, and third one is what? Third one is the location. The name has been set to what? Balaji. And age has been set to what? Something like 19. And location has been set to what? Chennai. Now I am dealing with copy constructor, right? So I want to make an exact copy. I want to make an exact copy, but to make an exact copy, I want to build such a constructor. Now, till now, I have a constructor with the reference variable P2, but I want to transmit this. I want to create a kind of copying. Okay, this needs to be transferred to my new reference variable. I need to do this. How I can do this? Very simple. Go back here, right? Capture the reference. Okay, just capture the reference. The reference is nothing but what you are receiving P1, right? P1 is being, P1 is equivalent to reference. Okay, with the help of this reference, you extract the name. With the help of the reference, you extract the age. With the help of the reference, you extract the location. Extract the details. So how the details are extracting? Okay, you may be getting confused. To go back here. So this is how I am building a constructor. I am trying to build a constructor. So this reference I am referring to equivalent to P1. Okay, I have access to the P1 object. I have access to P1 object. What I want to do with the help of this reference, indirectly it is P1. You can assume this as P1. But since I use the variable name as reference, okay, with the help of this reference, I am trying to access what? I am trying to access name. I am trying to access age. I am trying to access location. Three things I am accessing. How I can do that? Reference.name, reference.age, reference.location. So this, now I have complete access to this information. These three informations. Balaji is the first information, and the age is the second information, and the third one is what? Location. Location Chennai is the third information. What I want to do, I want to assign this to what? I want to assign this, I want to copy this to my new constructor or copy constructor. I want to copy this. Even in my copy constructor, I have what? Three variables: name, age, and location. How I can do that? Just okay, assign this what? Assign what I want to assign. Okay. This dot name equal to reference dot name, just by using this keyword. Just by using what keyword? Just by using this keyword. Okay. This dot age equal to reference dot age. This dot location equal to reference dot location. Okay. This will ensure that the values, the reference, what we call as the variable names are there in the copied constructor. The values will be set. Balaji will be set. 19 will be set. See, did I use Chennai or Hyderabad? Hyderabad, no? It was Hyderabad. Okay. Actually, I have taken Hyderabad, not Chennai. Hyderabad. Don't you think that it is your responsibility to build a constructor which is accepting the reference variable of another constructor. So what I can do in the code, I accept the value, I extract the value from this reference, and I will assign this to what? Instance variables. Okay, name. Okay, and I can do what? I can do age. I can give here what? Give here location. I want to be very specific. I want referring to the instance variables. Assign it this to instance variables. So I will be using this dot name. I will be using this dot age. I will be using this dot location. Right now, I have a object. My object is accepting the reference variable of another object. So this is called as copy constructor. You should also ensure that you are building such constructor so that the exact values of constructor will be copied completely to the exact value of second constructor. I print the reference variable p2 system dot out dot print ln. At the moment I start printing the reference variable of p2, to make it very clear, let me say p2. Okay, let me say p1. Now if you see the output, the P1 object is Balaji 1900, P2 object is Balaji 1900. Exact information is copied. Now what I will do, I will not change this copy constructor in the future. Okay, this will remain, it is going to be same forever. I will be modifying only the original constructor. I will keep the copy so that the data remains consistent. I will work on only the original constructor. After 1 year, right, I would say that person 1, after 1 year. Okay, I'm talking about what after 1 year. After one year, I just want to automate this. I will just want to, somehow will automate this. After the automation, I would say p1 dot age equal to 20. Let us say that Balaji has transferred to a different location. p1 dot location equal to what? Let me say Chennai. Right? If I try to print the p1 object once again, if I try to print the p2 object once again, now you see. Now if you say p1 of the changes are applied only for the p1 object, but p2 object remains same. Okay, what is happening behind the scenes? Okay, in the original object, okay, this has been changed to 20, and the location has been changed to Chennai. The changes are limited only for the original object. It is not having any reflection on the copied object. Copied object is what is protected and it is completely independent from the original object. Right? And you can keep working on this original object for any modification. And the duplicate, the copied object will be there forever. Have you got this? Everyone are able to get this? Niman is asking you a good lecture. Anyone is asking you how to define a copy constructor. Are you able to do that now from now onwards? Yes, no? Getting this, no? Okay, now see another advantage of the copy constructor is you have an option to initialize the values for the final keyword. So when I say final keyword, guys, this final keyword is something you need to ensure utmost care to use the final keyword. For example, let me copy this and paste it somewhere. Now let me give this to you. Take this code, and use online compiler and try to do these things. And a constructor that is accepting the reference variable of the original object as an argument. Okay. This is the example. Okay. Now see guys, let me remove all this. So these things are not required now. Okay, now let me remove this as well. Let me remove this as well. So now I have a simple person class and I have what? I have the main method, right? Now what I want to do is I am defining a variable like uh, let's say string name. Okay, so this is the ordinary variable. The moment I start using the final, okay, final, I'm using the final keyword, right? Now let me run this code. Let me run this example. What happens? What would be the output if I try to execute this code? Java C space %.java. Now you see variable name not initialized in the default constructor. Okay, final string name. If you observe one thing, it says not initialized in default constructor. One thing we are getting here. Second thing is it says final string name. Okay, what exactly the compiler is trying to convey? It is trying to convey a message to us. What exactly is that information? We'll understand. We'll try to understand that. So this is the compile time error we are getting. Always remember the moment you start using the final keyword, it means you should also ensure that the values are assigned at the time of declaration. The values must be assigned. Okay? Final keywords are always like they are the keywords that will expect a value at the time of declaration. You are declaring the name variable, and you should also ensure that the value is also assigned at the time of declaration. Now, if I run this code once again, you don't get such error. Compiler will not give you such error, right? So there is no compile time error. So this is one of the thing that you have to remember. Okay, the moment you start using final keyword, value has to be assigned. Okay, but with the help of the constructor, right? The moment you start using the constructor, let me take the person constructor. Okay, my person constructor is trying to assign the values to the instance variable which is of final type. Okay, let me copy the string name. Let me build a constructor so that it is going to assign the values to the instance variable. Okay, this dot name equal to name. Okay, now if you see, if I run this code, Java C %.java, Java space, you are not getting anything. Sir, you just say that when you are using the final keyword, the value needs to be assigned for sure. It is mandatory to assign the values, right? It is not applicable for the constructor. The moment you start defining the constructor, okay, the compiler will think that the developer is trying to assign the values through the he has defined the constructor here. Constructor has been defined here. With the help of constructor, you are avoiding getting the compile time error. The compiler will understand in such a way, like, okay, the person will definitely assign a value with the help of what? With the help of instance variable. Okay, how it can happen? Simply person, okay, E1 equal to new person, okay, and what can you do? Let me say Balaji. Java C space %.java, Java space person. Okay, I want to print it now. Let me print that. From dot out dot println, okay, p1 dot name. Let me get access to the name. Java C space %.java, Java space person. Here you are getting Balaji. So with the help of constructor, you can avoid getting the compile time error for the penalty. If you are not using the constructor, definitely there will be an error. Definitely it will expect the value to be assigned at the time of declaration. Since you have defined a constructor, the compiler will not give any compile time error, because it thinks that the value will definitely be assigned with the help of this person constructor. What happens if you try to do what? Balaji space name. If you try to change name to Balaji ACM. Space person. Okay. Now you're getting error. Cannot assign a value to the panel variable p dot. Why you are getting an error? once the value is assigned. You have assigned the value only once. Okay, a value has been assigned here. Once the value is assigned for the final variable, you cannot change it. So what is happening behind the scenes is, you may be thinking where we will be using this final keyword or not. If there are some situations, right? For example, the Aadhaar card number cannot be changed, right? And mostly the person name cannot be changed. Very rare cases the person names can be changed. The PAN card number cannot be changed, I think, and the bank account number cannot be. Some the PIN codes cannot be changed. Country name cannot be changed. In such cases, and the company name most probably they cannot be changed. At rarest of rare cases, there may be some changes, right? So to those variables, to those values, you use the final keyword. Now, what has happened now, just now, right? So the compiler will see this final keyword, right? After seeing this final keyword, okay, it will check for the relevant constructor. Okay, there is a relevant constructor. Okay, now it will think that, okay, relevant constructor has been placed. So definitely the one value will be assigned to this final keyword. So we have created an object. Okay, we have created an object, and what happens? P1 is the person, right? So P1, for the P1, okay, an object gets created, and you are passing the name. The beginning it will be null. Okay, later it is going to be changed to Balaji, right? So this is how it is, isn't it? So this is going to be what? This is going to be P1. Going to be P1. Right? Now you do what? You just call P1 dot name, right? You're just calling P1. Calling, no issues, right? Value has been assigned. So this is of what type? Final type. Remember, this variable is of what type? Final type. Final means once the value is assigned, it has to be fixed forever. You cannot make any change because this is the final keyword. Right? You are just calling it by using the reference variable P1 dot name. Okay, P1 dot name, right? P1 dot name is going to give you Balaji. Where it is making a lot of sense. We know this. Balaji will be printed on the console, right? The next thing is you are trying to do a kind of violation. You are going against the rules. Against the rules of what? Against the rules of final keyword. Right? You are reassigning the name to Balaji. You are trying to reassign the name to Balaji. This name is being reassigned to what? Balaji. The reassigning will not happen. This reassigning will not happen. Why it will not happen? Because the keyword that you are using was final keyword. So what is the takeaway here? Okay, one thing you have understood here, final keyword, you cannot make any changes. Okay, the moment you start using the final keyword, you should assign the values directly. But if you are using a constructor, that is also not required. That is also not required. Now, if you see the second case, now you tell me, now let me remove this. I am saying name equal to, I am directly assigning the value Balaji here. Okay, now what I am trying to do, I am creating a person1 object. Person1 object is created. Okay, what I am saying, let me say P1 dot name equal to name. I am doing what? P1 dot name equal to 10. Okay, let me run this code. Okay, cannot assign a value to the final variable P1 dot name. Non-static variable name cannot be referenced from a static content. Okay, let me say what it's saying. If you observe one thing here, right? You are using the Balaji. Balaji is being assigned to Balaji. Balaji is again assigned to the Balaji itself. Right? Or also, you are trying to use. I can say that. Okay, P1. I can say. Let me take it as static case. Let me take it as static. Focus here. P1 dot name. Let me trace this for the better observation. Now you see. Okay. Now you are not doing anything. Object is created. Okay, that's it. You have created an object. This object will store the reference instance variables name equal to Balaji. Directly the value is assigned. So no more constructor is required. Right? And this is of what type? This is of what type? This is of final type. Okay. So the job of the first line has been done. Okay. Now if you look at the second line, you are extracting the value by using what? P1 reference variable. So you are extracting the value of name by using what? P1 reference variable. By using the P1 reference variable, you are extracting name, which is going to give you what? Balaji. You are assigning is Balaji to the name itself. It's just like you are copying and you are pasting it like this. The value is not changed. Okay, you are not changing the value. However, the resultant value is same as the original value, right? You are copying the same name and pasting, but still it is not accepted. Still it is a kind of what? Still it is kind of a kind of what? Copying. You can call this as what? Copying. Copying variables is not allowed by using the final keyword. Copying variables are not allowed by using the final keyword. So it is not like you're reassigning. So when I'm saying reassigning, you may assign a different value to the respective variable. But here I'm trying to assign the same value, but still that will be considered as what? Considered as a copying. Copying the values is not accepted, or do what? You are just reassigning the same value. It is also not accepted. Okay, once the value is assigned, that has to be fixed forever. You cannot do copying, you cannot do reassigning, even though the value, resultant value is same as the original value, that things is not possible. Okay, but by using the final keyword, you can achieve the same thing by using the, you can achieve these things by using the copy constructor. That's my intention. Let me take this. Okay, now let me remove this. Let me change this to final. Okay, final. I have just said copying the values are not possible, right? Copying and pasting it to somewhere. Okay, now I am extracting here, I'm assigning it to some other thing of the final variable, right? So let me see what is the output. This person. Cannot assign a value to the final variable age p1 dot. Okay, so here I did some modification. Now let me remove this. We're talking with respect to the copy constructor. Okay, let me remove this also. Okay. These things are not required. Original constructor, this is the copy constructor, but I am trying to copy the final variables. Now these variables are final variables, right? Trying to copy it, and I am putting it in a different object. Is this possible or not? Java C space. Okay, this is another error, guys. Unfortunately, we are getting so many errors because of this notepad. But so we have to practice. You get to know a lot of things. Java C space person.java. Java space person. Right now, the variables are successfully copied. So the conclusion is the copy constructors will help you to copy the values of the final variables also. So there are no restrictions, such things like that. So you are just copying, but you cannot, you cannot change it. You cannot change it with respect to individual objects. With respect to P1 object, you cannot change this. With respect to P2 object, you cannot change. But these values are exactly copied to the different object, even though they are final. Okay? Even though they are final, these values are copied. So that restriction is not there here. Right? So this is all about constructor. Successfully have completed constructors. If you understand this little concept, okay, in the future, we will be dealing in the real-time applications. You will be dealing a lot with the Java constructors. There are some concepts like you cannot ignore this copy constructor. Why? Because there are some concepts like immutable objects. Immutable objects. The object cannot be changed. The state of the object cannot be changed. So they are called to understand this, you should understand copy constructor. There are some topics like the deep copying and shallow copying. To understand this, you need to understand what deep and shallow copy. You should understand this copy. This simple example that I have given, if you understand this, understanding the future topics are going to be very simple. And there is a concept called object cloning. Object cloning is same like the copy constructor, but there are a lot of disadvantages in object cloning. To understand those disadvantages, you have to understand this copy constructor. You cannot take any topic just like that, guys. You may be thinking that you cannot do this in real-time application. Everywhere you will find this in the real-time applications. Even I have moved between 7 to 8 projects. Everywhere there are copy constructors. Okay, there is a constructor topic. Constructor topic is very, very important. It is always underrated. In future, you will be dealing with the databases, right? You capture data from the front end. From the front end, you will consume it in the Java backend. From the Java backend, how you are consuming it, you will consume it by using the constructors. Without understanding constructors, you cannot consume it from the front end, and you cannot store it in the database like Oracle. Constructor will come in the picture. I don't think that I can ignore today's class. I can join tomorrow's class. I will skip the access modifiers class. That is not important. I will skip the polymorphism class. Don't be very selective in deciding which classes you have to listen, which class you are not supposed to listen. Listen each and every class. By the end of April 15, we will build a new project. Okay, there you will be using all. At the time, don't ask me what is this, what is that. Right? Any questions for me? Please.